Good day. Our topic for today is Lesson 1, Biological Criminology. Biological criminology basically purports that the criminal behavior is the result of some flaw in the biological makeup of the individual. Ang biological criminology daw ay isang karaniwang sinasabi na ang kriminal na pag-ugali ay isang resulta ng daloy sa pagbuo sa isang individual. This physical flaw could be due to the following. Meron siyang tatlo. Ang letter A is heredity. Heredity, which is also known as inheritance or biological inheritance. Ito yung mga napapasa o namamana sa atin ng mga ninuno natin o ng magulang natin biologically. Sa B naman is neurotransmitter dysfunction. Neurotransmitter dysfunction or neurotransmitter imbalance can cause depression, trauma, stress o mga bagay na maaaring maapektuhan yung way na mag-isip tayo, ganyan. Sa letter B naman, ang uli ay brain abnormalities that were caused by either of the following above improper development or trauma. Ang brain abnormalities daw ay maaaring maging sanhi ng improper development o hindi maayos na pag-grow natin sa pag-iisip o bilang isang tao o mga bagay na naranasan natin na tulad ng trauma, depression, or stress. A. Modern biological theories on crime. Lagi niyong tatandaan ng pre-modern biological theories on crime has two types. Number 1 is physiognomy and number 2 is phrenology. Discuss muna natin yung number 1, which is physiognomy. Physiognomy was founded by J. Baptiste de la Porte. The physiognomist is Johann Caspar Lavater was one of the first to suggest a link between facial figures and crime. Ang physiognomist daw ay founded ni J. Baptiste de la Porte at ang physiognomist daw ang nag-aral doon nito ay si Johann Caspar Lavater. Si Johann Caspar Lavater daw ay was one of the first to suggest a link between facial figures and crime. Siya daw yung isa sa mga unang nagsabi na ang facial figures and crime daw ay meron daw relasyon o pagkakaugnay. The philosopher Jacob Fries also suggested a link between crime and physical appearance when he published a criminal anthropology handbook in 1820. Meron naman daw isang philosopher na si Jacob Fries ang nagsabi na meron din daw na relasyon sa pagitan ng crime and physical appearance. Ito ay nung pinpublish niya raw ang Criminal Anthropology Handbook noong 1820. At ngayon magdako naman tayo sa pangalawa, which is phrenology. Phrenology, it comes from the Greek word mind and logos, knowledge, and this theory claims to be able to determine character, personality traits, and criminality on the basis of the shape of the head. Ang sinasabi naman sa number 2, phrenology, it comes from the Greek word mind and logos, knowledge, and this theory claims to be able to determine character, personality traits, and criminality on the basis of the shape of the head. Sinasabi dito na maaari mo raw ma-determine ang character, personality traits, at ang criminality behavior ng isang tao base lamang sa shape ng kanyang ulo. Franz Joseph Gall then developed in 1810 his work on criminology, in which he alleged that crime was one of the behaviors organically controlled by a specific area of the brain. Si Franz Joseph Gall naman daw ay dinevelop ang kanyang work na criminology noong 1810 na ina-allege niya na ang crime ay isang behavior na nakokontrol ng isang specific area sa ating utak. In 1843, Francois Magendie referred to phrenology as a pseudoscience of the present day. Ang pseudoscience naman ay isang proposition, findings, or a system explanation na presented as a science pero lack of rigor essential to the scientific method. Ito daw ay maaaring maging resulta ng research na nakabase sa maling information or bad idea.
Modern biological theories on crime. In a modern biological theories on crime, biological explanation of crime assume that some people are born criminals who are physiologically distinct from non-criminal. The most proponent of this approach is Cesar Lombroso. Lombroso suggested that involvement in crime was a product of biology and biological characteristics. Criminals were born that way. Lombroso theory is essentially a theory of biological positivism. Two studies related to criminal anthropology of Lombroso. Charles Goring, 1913. He offered the major challenge to Lombrosian theory, studied 3,000 convicts with a story of long, frequent sentence and apparently non-criminals. Goring therefore claimed that the primary source of criminal behavior is heritage characteristic rather than environmental factors. Goring findings no evidence of a physical type criminal, contradicted Lombroso findings. Ernst Houghton, in his Crime and the Man in 1939, about his study of 14,000 prisoners and 3,009 prisoners, Houghton agreed with Lombroso's idea of born criminals and agreed that most crime was committed by individuals who were biologically inferior, organically inadaptable, mentally and sociologically debased. Houghton supported the notion of born criminal by Lombroso. Physics theory developed by Ernst Kretschmer. Physics means physical, so that physical theory is the model of physical events and they have four suggested physics. First, asthenic type, who has a slender body, leptosome, and is more prone to schizophrenia, frontal, schizoid, psychopath, or personality disorder. Second, athletic type with a muscular, vigorous physique and who may suffer from epilepsy, frontal schizophrenia. Third, picnic type who has a round body and is likely to become manic depressive. Illness means bipolar disorder characterized by plumpness, frontal circular. And fourth is dysplastic or mixed types infrequent cause, which show individuals build conclude that there was an association between the picnic body build and manic depressive, bipolar, mental disorder, and between asthenic, athletic, and certain body builds and schizophrenia.
Semantic theory. This is theory developed by William Sheldon. Associated body type. Physics to human temperament using anthropometric method. Sheldon studied the photographed bodies of some 4,000 men from front view, side view, and back view. He divided the physics of men of the contribution of three fundamental elements the somatotype. Three somatotype by Sheldon. Endomorphic. Endomorphic have the following characteristics. 1. Overweight or Number 1. Overweight or obese endomorphic individuals are described as having a round body shape, low muscle mass, short limbs, and large head. 2. Somatotype is in this discredited theory of personality that associate different body composition with various personality traits and behavioral characteristics. Somatotype refers to the bodybuilder or physique of a person. 3. Have a wide waist, large bone structure. Endomorphic of shorter body with curves, they have a wide waist and hips and large bone. Should they may or may not be overweight. Number 4. Have a higher proportion of digestive tissue. The expression of digestive enzyme and the nutrients transporters approximately matches the dietary load of their respective substrates with relative modest excess capacity. Number 5. Have a serotonin temperament. A tendency toward love of comfort, food, relaxation, and sociability. Letter B. Mesomorphic. Returning to having a muscular study bodybuilder. Bodybuild characterized by the relative prominence the structure developed from the environment mesoderm. Number 1. Body type is characterized by a high rate of muscle growth. Number 1. A human somatotype physical type that is marked by greater than average muscular development as determined by the since discrete physic classification system developed in the 1940s by American psychologists. Number 2. Have a large bone, solid torso combined with the low fat level. A hourglass for a female and rectangle for a male. Number 3. They are filled with energy, courage, and assertive tendency. Extreme somatotonic also tend to be on doing well in a physical competition. Number 4. Have wide shoulder with a narrow. 5. Have a higher proportion of muscular tissue. Have a Dionysian temperament. Ectomorphic. Ectomorphic having a thin body build broadly characterized by the relative prominence of structure developed from the embryonic ectoderm. Ectomorphic have the following characteristic. Number 1. Long arm and legs. 2. Short upper body. 3. Narrow shoulder. 4. Have a long and thin muscle. 5. Have a very low fat storage. 6. They are usually referred to as slim. 7. Have a high proportion of nervous tissue. 6. Have a cerebrotonic temperament. Sheldon research outcome. Sheldon study revealed that a proportion towards criminality might be influenced by somatotype high endomorphy and intermediate in mesomorphy. In contrast, a predisposition towards suicidality might be influenced by somatotype high endomorphy. Ectomorphy and ectomorph is more common in mental institutions.
4. The theory of XYY chromosome imbalance theory. The human chromosome is the basic building block of life and is one of the most important components of the cell to be transmitted from generation to generation. Types of sex chromosomes. A. XX chromosomes. It refers to female chromosomes. B. XY chromosomes. It refers to male chromosomes. C. XYY chromosomes. The extra Y chromosomes equate aggressive behavior. The sex chromosomes help determine whether a person will develop male or female physical sex characteristics.
Biological family study on the crime. Hughes family tree. The study of Richard Dugley in the late 19th and 20th centuries views are presented the concept of degeneracy, although synonymous with the bad heredity, that lend theories to conceive that social problems are caused by the following factor. This view was expounded in the Hughes study Crime, Pauperism, Disease, and Heredity by Dugley in 1875, who studied the family of Margaret, Ada Jukes. The study was about the rural clan. The over and 7 generations produced 1,000 to 200 bastard beggars, murderers, prostitutes, tubies, and syphilitics. The following are Douglas findings based on the Jukes family study. Margaret Jukes are regarded as the mother of the criminals. Number 2. Kalikak family tree. This study was made possible by Henry H. Goddard, appointment American physiological and accuracy in the early 20th century, as was known especially for his 1912 work, The Kalikak Family, a study in the heredity of feeble mind disease. Garden developed this pseudonym, Kalikak, by combining the Greek root meaning beauty, kalos, with the one meaning bad, kakos. He was also introduced the term moron. Goddard, a study traced back 6 generations of the family, 480 members, of a young institutionalized woman, and found a falling amount of defectiveness, yet there was also information about a good family of the same name in emerged. The forebear met and feeble-minded girl, by whom he became the father of feeble-minded son. Subsequently, the father married a respectable girl of good family, by whom and children was a market tendency toward professional careers, who married into the best families, signers of the Declaration of Independence, etc. The lesson was clear and dramatic at the study link medical and moral divines and force of the new Mendelian laws with the old biblical injunction that sign of the father shall be visit on the son.
Jonathan Edwards' family tree. Based on the study, Edwards was a famous preacher during the colonial period when his family tree was traced. None of the descendants was found to be criminal. The Edwards family tree research findings are as follows. A. Practically no lawbreakers. B. More than 100 became lawyers and 30 became judges. C. There were 13 college students and 100 and more professors. D. 60 were physicians. E. 100 were clergymen, missionaries, and theological professors. F. 80 were elected to public office, including 3 mayors, 3 governors, several members of Congress, 3 senators, and 1 vice president. G. 60 have attained prominence in authorship or editorial life with 135 books of merit. And H. 5 become an army or navy officers.
Jonathan Edwards was born on October 5, 1703, the fifth of 11 child and only son of Timothy Edwards. Jonathan Edwards was a Puritan preacher in the 1700s. He was one of the most respected preachers in his day. Edwards' father, Timothy, was a pastor of the church at East Windsor, Connecticut. His mother, Esther, was a daughter of Solomon Stoddard, pastor of the church at Northampton, Massachusetts.